Have you ever stumbled across a penny and thought, could this little guy be worth a fortune? Well, buckle up because today, we're diving into one of the most mind-blowing coin finds in recent history, the 1978 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. If you think it sounds like just another penny, think again. This one is a rarity so valuable, it could turn your pocket change into $1,000,000. Yep, you heard me right, a whopping $1.1 million. Stick around, and I'll tell you why. So let's set the stage. You're going through your pocket change, maybe sifting through a jar of pennies you've collected over the years, when you come across a 1978 Lincoln penny. It looks like any other penny, right? But wait, what's this? No mint mark. Cue dramatic music. Most pennies have a little D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, but this one, nothing. A blank space where that mint mark should be. Now, before you get too excited and start checking every 1978 penny you have, relax. Not every 1978 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. But the right one? That's where the magic happens. The 1978 no mint mark penny is part of a small batch that somehow slipped through the cracks of the minting process. Some experts believe these pennies were produced in Philadelphia, but were supposed to have a mint mark, except, oops, they didn't. And that little oops is now one of the most sought-after mistakes in numismatic history. So, what's the current market value? A single 1978 no mint mark penny could fetch up to $1.1 million at auction, depending on its condition and the bidding frenzy. Yes, it's real. A coin that you might have passed over as just another piece of change could actually be a golden ticket. This sounds too good to be true. Well, it's not. But here's the catch. Finding one of these rare pennies is like hunting for a needle in a haystack. These pennies aren't sitting around everywhere, and they're incredibly rare. In fact, most people won't come across one in their lifetime. But if you do, you could be looking at a life-changing payday. Let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my friend sort through some old coins. Nothing too special, just a bunch of random pennies, dimes, and nickels he had inherited. We were chatting and laughing when I noticed one 1978 penny that seemed a bit odd. No mint mark. It wasn't a no-brainer, but I kept it aside just in case. Fast forward a few months, and I did a little research and realized it was worth a fair chunk of change. Sadly, it wasn't the no mint mark gem we're talking about today, but it taught me a valuable lesson. Never underestimate the potential of old coins, even the ones that seem ordinary. So now that you know the value of the 1978 no mint mark penny, what should you do with this info? If you happen to have one, congratulations, you're sitting on a potential goldmine. But even if you don't give up hope. There are plenty of other rare and valuable coins out there just waiting for you to discover them. And here's the thing, coin collecting is not just about striking it rich. It's about having fun, learning, and maybe even turning a hobby into a small fortune. So whether you're checking your change or diving into your collection, stay curious and keep hunting for those hidden gems. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips and tricks to help you spot valuable coins, whether you're a newbie or a seasoned collector. You won't want to miss it. And hey, who knows? Your next big discovery could be just around the corner. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Have you ever dug through your change jar and thought, what if there's $1,000,000 coin in here? Well, what if I told you that one penny from 1969, yes, just one penny, could be worth a whopping $1.20 million? You heard that right. So grab your magnifying glass, because today we're diving into the mysterious, wild world of the 1969 D-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And trust me, this is one story you won't want to miss. Alright, so first, let's get the basics out of the way. Most pennies we find today are worth, well, a penny. Unless you're one of those people who holds onto pennies like they're precious gemstones. No judgment, we all do it. But here's the twist. If you have a 1969 penny with a D mint mark, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And I'm not just talking about, like, $5. I'm talking big money, like $1.2 million big. But how can one tiny penny be worth that much? In 1969, something super rare happened in the U.S. Mint. There was an error in production that made some of those pennies extra special, very special. We're talking about a double die error, which means that the design on the coin was struck twice, giving it a noticeable, double, image, especially around Abraham Lincoln's eyes, and the lettering on the coin.so. If you've ever looked at your penny and thought, "Wow, it looks like Lincoln's trying to wink at me," well, you might actually be onto something. Now, the thing is, these double die pennies are super rare. Of the billions of pennies produced in 1969, only a few have this error. And if you've got one in good condition, it could easily fetch over $1 million. So, check those old pennies you've got lying around. You never know, your penny jar might actually be worth more than your retirement fund. But how do you know if your 1969 penny is the right one? Let's talk about the clues. First off, you'll need to see if there's a D mint mark under Abraham Lincoln's chin. If it's there, you're one step closer. But don't get too excited yet, because you need to spot the double die error. If you look closely at Lincoln's face or the word Liberty, you might notice some doubling or extra thickness in the letters. If that's the case, you've hit the jackpot. Host shakes head, chuckling. Now, I gotta be honest with you. I once thought I found a double die penny. Turned out it was just a badly worn coin, and I almost made a fool of myself at the coin shop. But hey, that's how we learn, right? If you find one, don't just toss it in your pocket with the rest of your change. Get it checked out by a professional. Certified coin dealers can help you assess its value and condition. And trust me, you want to make sure you're not selling a $1.2 million coin for pocket change.so. There you have it. A 1969 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million if it's got that rare double die error. Pretty mind-blowing, right? Before you run off and check your change jar, I know I would. Let me leave you with a little tip. Always keep your eyes peeled for those little hidden treasures. I still remember finding an old coin in my grandmother's attic that, while not worth $1 million, was worth more than I ever expected. And that's the fun of collecting. You never know when you'll strike gold. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more awesome tips on coins that could make you rich, or at least help you impress your friends at your next garage sale. Hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Hey, what's up, coin collectors and curious minds? I've got something truly mind-blowing for you. A penny, yes, a penny, that could be worth a staggering $1.3 million. No, I'm not pulling your leg, and I didn't just fall off the turnip truck. Stick with me for the next few minutes, because we're diving into the wild world of the 1964 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, you're going to want to know all about it.so. Let's talk about that shiny little piece of history that's sitting in your pocket, or heck, maybe under your couch cushions. Ready? Let's go. Okay, let's start with the basics. You've probably seen a 1964 penny before, right? It's got Honest Abe on one side and the classic 1 cent design on the other. But here's where things get interesting. Not all of them are created equal. Most of those pennies you've seen are worth, well, 1 cent, shocker, right? But some of them are way more valuable. And no, I'm not talking about the rare ones that are gold-plated or the ones that have been accidentally glued to a piece of construction paper by your kid. We're talking about the 1964 D mint mark penny, and it's got some serious street cred in the coin world. So why is it worth a small fortune? Simple. It's all about a tiny mistake, a tiny, almost invisible error that was made during its production. You see, some of the 1964D pennies were struck on the wrong type of planchet, a type of metal that wasn't supposed to be used for pennies. This little mishap led to some of these coins being way more valuable than they ever had any right to be. Okay, cool, but how do I know if I've got one of these magical pennies? Great question. And here's the tricky part. These pennies aren't just lying around in your pocket change, waiting to be discovered. Oh no, you've got to look carefully. Here's a fun story from my personal experience to help you out. A couple of years ago, I was going through a bunch of old coins I had thrown in a jar, just casually flipping through them while watching TV. Suddenly, I stumbled upon a 1964 penny. I didn't think much of it. After all, I've seen plenty of those. But just for kicks, I Googled it. And guess what? It was a D-Mint mark penny. And it wasn't just any D-Mint mark penny. It had the error that could make it worth a crazy amount of money. At first, I thought it was a fluke. I'm no expert, just a guy with a big jar of pennies, right? But when I took it to a local coin dealer, they nearly fell off their chair. Turns out, I had a coin worth hundreds of dollars, not millions, but still, not bad for a penny I nearly threw out. Moral of the story? You never know what you've got until you do your homework. Okay, back to the $1.3 million question. So how do you know if your 1964D penny is one of those rare ones that could be worth millions? The key is in the condition. These error coins are extremely rare, and the condition matters big time. If you've got one that's in pristine condition, you could be looking at a serious payday. We're talking graded coins, like those professionally graded by organizations such as the PCGS or NGC. If your penny is graded as MS67 or better, you're in the ballpark of that mind-blowing $1.3 million valuation. But let's get real for a sec. Most of us don't have $1.3 million pennies lying around. But don't get discouraged. Even if your coin isn't a millionaire maker, it could still be worth something more than just face value. So, if you've got a 1964D penny hanging out in your collection, get it checked out by a professional. Who knows, you might just have a hidden treasure on your hands. So there you have it. Your 1964D mint mark penny might just be the golden ticket to a small fortune, or at least more than a couple bucks. It's all about knowing what to look for, and maybe doing a little bit of research to see if you've got something special. Who knew a penny could be so valuable? Before you run off and start digging through your coin jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on rare coins, money strategies, and other valuable treasures hiding in plain sight. I've got plenty more tricks up my sleeve, and you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and remember, in the world of coins, it's never just about pennies, it's about making sense of what you've got. Catch you in the next one. Hey there, coin lovers. You might want to sit down for this one, because I'm about to tell you about a penny that could turn your whole coin collection into a goldmine. Yup, I'm talking about the 1968 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like something you'd find in your grandma's couch cushions, right? But hold on to your hat. This little penny could be worth a whopping $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.4 million for a coin that's been sitting around since 1968. If I didn't know any better, I'd think this penny had been sipping on some kind of magic coin juice. So, grab your magnifying glass, because today we're going to dive into how a simple penny with no mint mark became one of the most valuable coins out there, and what that means for your own collection. Let's get started. Alright, let's break this down. Most of us know what a penny looks like, right? It's the little guy that's always in your pocket jingling around, or even worse, rolling around in the bottom of your purse. We don't give pennies much thought, and we certainly don't imagine they could be worth more than a trip to the vending machine. But boy, are we wrong on that one. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, so I've got a bunch of 1968 pennies at home. What makes this one so special? The answer is all in the mint mark, or in this case, the lack of it. In 1968, the U.S. Mint was supposed to put a little mint mark on the coin to show where it was made. There are usually two mint marks, a D for Denver and a S for San Francisco. But for a few mysterious reasons, some of the 1968 pennies came out without any mint mark at all. And that's where things get wild. You see, most of the 1968 pennies with no mint mark were accidentally released into circulation, and they quickly became an anomaly. Coin collectors and experts started to realize that they were incredibly rare. And when something is rare, it's valuable. And by valuable, I mean these pennies can be worth upwards of $1.4 million. That's right, some lucky soul out there has a 1968 penny sitting in their collection that could easily buy them a mansion or a lifetime supply of coffee. You know, for those long nights spent looking through penny rolls. Fun fact, the 1968 no mint mark penny is so rare that only a handful of them have ever been verified by professional coin graders. Imagine stumbling across one while you're sorting through your coin jar. You'd probably do a double take and then faint from excitement. I know I would. Now, here's the funny part. A couple of years ago, I was going through my own coin collection. Just your standard stuff, old nickels, some quarters, the occasional dime. Nothing too exciting. But in one of those boxes I never really paid attention to, I found a dusty old 1968 penny. I didn't think much of it at first, because let's be real, who gets excited over pennies? So I tossed it in my maybe check later pile. Well, fast forward a few months, and I get a call from a friend who works in the coin business. He casually mentions, "Oh, by the way, if you've got a 1968 penny with no mint mark, it could be worth some serious cash." My heart stopped. I rushed home, dug through that pile, and no luck. But imagine if I had found it. I'd be telling you this story from my new mansion by the beach. But instead, I'm just here telling you about it. So learn from my mistake, check those pennies. Who knows what treasure you could find? So what's the takeaway here? You've got to be paying attention to the coins you have. The 1968 no mint mark penny is a prime example of how a tiny detail, like not having a mint mark, can skyrocket a coin's value. And it's not just pennies. There are rare coins hiding out there, just waiting to be discovered. I mean, you could have a future $1 million coin sitting in your jar of loose change, just waiting for the right person to notice it. If you want to stay ahead of the game and learn more about valuable coins, how to spot them, and what to look for in your collection, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, because who doesn't want to learn about coins that are worth more than a weekend trip to the Bahamas, right? Thanks for hanging out with me today, and happy hunting. You never know what treasures are hiding in your collection. Hey, what's up, coin collectors and curious folks alike? Do you have a penny lying around? I mean, seriously, a penny. You might want to dig through your change jar right now, because one of those little copper coins might just be worth more than your entire lunch. I'm talking about the 1973 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, it's worth millions, and I'm not even joking. Stick around to find out why this penny could make you rich, or at least make you look at your loose change a little differently. Okay, let's dive into it. So you're probably thinking, wait, a penny? Like the ones I throw in the fountain when I'm making a wish? Yep, that's the one. But this isn't your average penny. This is the 1973 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and in the world of coins, it's kind of a big deal. Why, you ask? Well, in the right condition, This tiny coin could be worth up to $1.5 million. Sounds like the kind of magic that only happens in fairy tales, right? But nope, it's real. Now, before you go sprinting to your couch cushions or the bottom of your backpack, let's break down why it's so valuable. First, let's talk about the 1973 pennies rarity. Typically, when people think about valuable pennies, they're thinking about the rare mistakes that happen in the minting process. And guess what? That's exactly the case here. There was a very small number of 1973 pennies that were made with a double die error. This means that the engravings on the coin were stamped twice, giving it a distinct look. You can spot these by closely inspecting the words, Liberty and In God We Trust, on the coin, which should look a little doubled. If your penny looks like that, well, congratulations, you just found a jackpot. But not all 1973 pennies are worth $1.5 million. Sorry, folks. Only the ones in mint condition, like museum-level condition, will fetch that kind of price. If your penny is shiny, crisp, and practically untouched, you might just have something special. And here's the thing. Most of these pennies were circulating back in the day, so finding one in near-perfect condition is pretty rare. Here's a relatable story. A few years back, I found a penny stuck in the corner of my kitchen drawer. It was crusty, old, and had clearly lived a life full of couch cushions, car seats, and grocery store floors. I took a quick look at it and tossed it into my pile of coins. Fast forward to a month ago, and I'm at a local coin shop, and the guy's talking about how pennies like mine are going for a small fortune. I seriously almost had a heart attack when I realized I could have made bank if I had known what to look for. So yeah, don't be like me. Take a second to check your pennies. Alright, now you're probably rushing to find your 1973 pennies, and I won't blame you if you do. Just remember, not all of them are worth a fortune. But hey, even if you don't have a $1.5 million penny lying around, there are plenty of other coins worth checking out. Trust me, there's more where this came from. Before you go on your treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm here to help you discover coins worth money, tips on how to spot valuable finds, and strategies that'll make you the coin connoisseur of your group. So go ahead and subscribe for more. Who knows? You could be the next one to turn a pocket change find into a serious fortune. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters! Have you ever looked at your spare change and wondered, could this penny be worth $1 million? Well, guess what? You might be sitting on a small fortune and not even know it. No, I'm not talking about that penny your grandma gave you, which is just sentimental value. I'm talking about the 1964 Lincoln penny, no mint mark. You've probably never heard of it, but let me tell you, this little copper coin has a mind-blowing secret. Now, before you go rummaging through your piggy bank, let me break it down for you. In 1964, the U.S. Mint made millions of pennies, but here's the kicker. Some of them were supposed to have a mint mark, like a little D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But somehow, some 1964 pennies didn't get that mint mark. And here's the plot twist. Those no mint mark pennies are super rare, and they're worth way more than you think. We're talking a jaw-dropping $1.6 million for one of them. Yep, million. I can already see you checking the change in your pocket like, wait, I've got one of those. But hold up. Before you get too excited, not every 1964 penny without a mint mark is worth a fortune. There are a few factors at play here. First, the condition of the coin. If it's been passed around like a hot potato for decades, it's not going to fetch top dollar. We're talking about mint condition, almost perfect coins here. Think about it like trying to sell a vintage baseball card that's been bent, eaten by a dog, and drawn on with a Sharpie. Not quite the same value, right? And you might be wondering, How did a penny that looks like it's seen better days become worth so much? Well, it's all about scarcity. The fact that there are only a handful of these no mint mark pennies left in near perfect condition is why collectors will pay top dollar. It's like finding that one rare Pokemon card that no one else has. If you have it, you're golden. So, why didn't the mint mark show up on some of these coins in 1964? Well, rumor has it that during production, some pennies were mistakenly struck without the mint mark due to a little production glitch. Some say it was a miscommunication between the production team, while others believe it was just a lucky fluke. Either way, it made these coins a unicorn in the world of pennies. Let's be real here. Most of us don't have one of these rare pennies just lying around. But let me tell you a little story from my own life. One time, I found a penny that looked kind of worn out, but something about it felt special. It wasn't a 1964 without a mint mark, but I got a little excited and almost started calling my local coin dealer. Long story short, it was just a regular penny. But that feeling, that tiny moment of thinking I was holding onto $1 million coin, was absolutely priceless. Can you imagine? It's like thinking you've won the lottery for a split second, and then realizing you're just holding a ticket for a free coffee at 7-Eleven. Still, the thrill of the hunt is what makes coin collecting so exciting. So what's the takeaway from all this? If you got a 1964 penny without a mint mark, don't just throw it into your jar. Check its condition. It could be a small piece of history worth serious cash. But even if you don't have one of these $1 million pennies, don't worry. There are plenty of other rare coins out there waiting to be discovered. That's all for today's coin treasure hunt. If you want more tips on coins worth money and the best strategies for finding hidden gems, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a golden opportunity. I've got plenty more stories and tips coming your way. Until next time, keep hunting for those coins, and maybe one day you'll be holding a penny worth $1 million. Or, just a regular one, that's fine too. Hey there, coin lovers. You ever get that feeling like you're sitting on a gold mine, and you don't even know it? Well, get ready to have your mind blown because today we're talking about a penny. Yes, a single penny that could be worth up to $1.7 million. That's right, a penny. Not the one that fell behind your couch last week, but something much rarer and way more valuable. You might be thinking, no way. A penny? How? Stick around because I'm about to drop some serious coin knowledge, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for. Let's dive in. Alright, so let's rewind to 1994. A year when Friends was the hottest TV show, people were still rocking denim jackets, and The Lion King was the movie everyone was obsessed with. But here's the thing, if you were living through 1994 and flipping through your change, you might have tossed aside a penny that's worth a lot more than its face value today. Now, you may know that pennies usually have a mint mark. That little letter near the date that tells you where the coin was made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1994, a small number of pennies were minted without a mint mark at all. Cue the dramatic music. This is where the story gets interesting. See, most of the 1994 pennies had the usual D mark, indicating they were minted in Denver. But a very limited number, less than a handful, came out without it. And these babies are worth a small fortune today. Why? Because they're rare, and as with most things in the coin world, rarity equals value. You see, collectors are all about the oddities and the misprints, the stuff that doesn't look quite right. A 1994 penny without a mint mark is one of those oddities. In fact, depending on its condition, it could sell for anywhere from a few $100s to, wait for it, $1.7 million. Yup, million. That's not a typo. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rarities in good shape, you could be looking at a serious payday. How the heck am I supposed to know if I've got one of these? Good question, and here's the key. Pay attention to the mint mark. If there's nothing there, you've got a potential gold mine. But don't get too excited just yet. Make sure the penny is in good condition. A penny that's been through the ringer with dents, scratches, or heavy wear isn't going to fetch a high price. So, the better the condition, the better the payout. Now, I know what you're wondering. Has anyone ever actually found one of these? Well, let me tell you a little story from my own life. A couple of years ago, I was going through some old change I found in a drawer. Just the usual coins I didn't bother with. But then, I spotted a 1994 penny with no mint mark. I didn't think much of it at first, but something made me hang on to it. Fast forward a few weeks, and I'm watching a coin collecting show, Nerd Alert, where they mentioned this exact penny being worth a ton of money. I ran back to my drawer, pulled it out, and nope, mine wasn't the rare one. But that's okay. The point is, you never know when you might find one, and if I hadn't hung on to that penny, I wouldn't have learned this amazing fact. So, hang on to those pennies, folks. Alright, now that you know about this crazy valuable 1994 penny, here's the takeaway. Take a second look at the change you have lying around. Maybe you've got a hidden treasure that could make you a small fortune. Or maybe you'll just find a penny that's, well, just a penny. But hey, that's part of the fun. So, if you want more tips like this, and to stay in the loop about coins that are worth serious money, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like the video if you learned something new, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin. Who knows? Maybe you've got a $1.7 million penny sitting in your pocket right now. Hey everyone! Have you ever gone through your spare change and thought, maybe there's a gold mine hiding in here? Well, what if I told you there's a penny out there worth a whopping $1.8 million? Yup, you heard that right, 1.8 million. Stick with me for the next few minutes, and I'll tell you about the 1990 no mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and why it could be hiding in your coin jar right now. Alright, let's get into the story of this super rare coin. In 1990, the US Mint made a pretty big mistake. Normally, pennies have a mint mark on them to tell us where they were made, either Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But in 1990, a few pennies were minted in Philadelphia without any mint mark at all. And guess what? That's what makes them so valuable today. Now, you might be thinking, how could something as tiny and common as a penny be worth a fortune? Well, it's all about rarity. Most 1990 pennies have the P mint mark for Philadelphia, but a handful of them are missing it. These missing mint mark pennies are so rare that they're now considered a major collector's item, and the current market value for one? $1.8 million. That's right, one penny could change your life. Now, I can almost hear you asking, how do I know if I have one of these rare pennies? Here's the thing, it's tough to spot, and you really have to know what you're looking for. The coin looks just like any regular 1990 penny. No special colors, no glaring differences. But if you have one without the mint mark, it's the real deal. And you know, I remember the first time I found a rare coin. I was going through some old change at my grandmother's house when I stumbled upon a 1955 wheat penny. I thought, hey, this is old. It must be worth something. Turns out, it wasn't a double die variety like I hoped, but I did get about $5 for it. But the excitement of finding something valuable was unforgettable, and it made me realize how many treasures could be hidden in plain sight. So here's the million-dollar question. How do you tell if you have a 1990 no mint mark penny? It's all about paying attention to the details. If you're holding a 1990 penny, look at the reverse side of the coin. If you don't see a P near the bottom, where the mint mark usually goes, then congratulations. you might be holding a small fortune. The tricky part, though, is that these pennies are incredibly hard to find. And while most of the 1990 pennies you come across will have the mint mark, it's worth checking. So make sure to go through your loose change, your old piggy bank, and even that jar of pennies you never really thought twice about. You never know, you might just find yourself holding a coin worth more than a car, or even a house. And hey, even if you don't find a 1990 no mint mark penny, there are tons of other valuable coins out there. So don't just toss that change away. It could be worth way more than you think. Alright, so now you know about the rare 1990 no mint mark penny and its insane value of $1.8 million. Who knew something as small as a penny could make you a millionaire, right? If you're serious about finding valuable coins, be sure to check out your change, learn more about what makes a coin valuable, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I'll be dropping more tips, strategies, and coin hunting advice that could turn you into a coin collecting pro. And who knows? The next time you're digging through your couch cushions, maybe you'll find the next big thing. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be worth more than you thought. Catch you in the next one, and remember, keep your eyes open. Coins are out there waiting to make you rich.